So today we're going to make a vegan Wellington. We're going to poach off some lovely butternut squash with as many aromatics in there as possible to get as much flavour into the squash as possible. And then heat it in a pan and roast the outside to again impart more depth of flavour. And then we're going to make a mushroom duxelle. Just a fine dice of mushrooms, fried in a pan until completely dry, and then blended. We're going to pan fry some spinach and squeeze as much liquid out of that as possible to dry that out as well, because if there's too much liquid in the Wellington, it will go soggy. Most puff pastry you buy in shops now is vegan, and it's not something chefs want to make themselves because it's a very long job. So then when you build it, you lay out your pastry, and then you lay out your spinach and your mushroom. Put your butternut squash in the centre and fold it up. And we won't seal it with egg wash as it's a vegan dish. It will just seal with a bit of water and soy milk. We're just going to have some very seasonal vegetables on the side, very simple because the Wellington is the wow factor of the dish. So we just have some lovely Jersey Royals, some lovely spring greens, seasoned with a little bit of olive oil and salt and pepper.
So I'm making the vegetarian Wellington sauce. I've chosen cider as it comes. So we get the pan nice and hot so we can cook off the alcohol. We want that to reduce right down. And then we've got our veg stock, which we cooked our squash in with all the aromats, rosemary, bay leaves, garlic, thyme and tarragon. And obviously we're going to put that into the sauce and we're going to thicken it with a little bit of corn flour, and it's going to be beautiful, and that's going to go with the Wellington.
Okay, so this is the last dish from Chef's Kitchen tonight. We have got a butternut squash Wellington, but let me just tell you a little bit about what I'm pairing it with tonight. We've got Boudica Brewery. This is their Three Tails bitter. It's their standard sort of session bitter, vegan beer. However, this is the Golden Talk that I'm actually going to go with tonight. It's a little bit richer, a little bit stronger, lots of hops in there, nice and traditional hops, not really citrusy, a little bit of citrus in there, but it's not overly grapefruity. That's the recipe. It's a traditional brew. It's a multi golden ale. It's not a real pale. So I'm just going to crack this one open. So Boudica Brewery is from Norfolk. Whoa, lively. Boudica Brewery is from Norfolk. It's owned by a friend of ours called Emma, and she really wanted to make a local brewery with local ingredients and sort of local flavours at the heart. Hence the name Boudica Brewery, Iceni Tribe. Nice historical reference. Love a historical reference. And her friend Andy was the original brewer. But they're moving premises, there's lots going on, pandemic's had an effect, but you can still pick this bottle up, and the Three Tails Bitter, 3 at 3, the craft beer shop in Norfolk, Ely, not Norfolk. Chef, would you like to bring the butternut squash dish across?
Yes.
It's really good though, because what you've got conceptually, you've got the butternut squash as the star of the show, right in the middle of the dish, and all the other flavours just sort of build on that really. So you've used the poaching liquor, you've used the cider that you cooked the butternut squash in the first place, and you've expanded that into the sauce, and obviously lovely spring greens and potatoes on the side as well.
Well, it's got to be seasonal.
Yeah, it's got to be seasonal. Nice and crispy still. Okay, so let's dig in.
So I'm hoping my knife goes through this and it's nice and soft. Excellent.
Right, that's good. So the pastry is nice and crispy, the butternut squash is well poached, but it's still got a little bit of that caramelisation on the side.
Yeah.
You've got the richness of the spinach as well, to pair with the sweetness of the cider and the lack of butter, which is really depressing to me. But, you've got to cater for all tastes these days. So are you going to taste the cider or the beer with this, chef?
Beer first.
Okay, fair enough.
As I've got cider in the sauce.
Fair enough. Bit of contrast. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I have a small mouth.
So tell me about the beer. How does that work with the dish? Flavour-wise.
Well, because it adds bitter notes, it makes it balanced, I feel.
So yeah, the reason that I decided to go with the Golden Torque rather than the Three Tails Bitter is because there is a little bit more of a bitterness from the Norfolk hops in the Golden Torque. Three Tails Bitter, like I said, session bitter, really nice, sort of drink down the pub on its own. But the Golden Torque really does stand up to the flavours of this dish, I feel. It's a little bit stronger in alcohol as well, so you just get that little bit more oomph to go with the big flavours that this dish brings out. Because when you're cooking for alternative dietary requirements, this dish is 100% vegan, as is the beer, and of course cider as it comes is in the dish. And I've decided to pair this with my favourite cider from Simon, which is East Meets West. Is it this one? Yep. Here we go. So it's the Eastern Counties blended cider with the West Country Dabinet. I think it's 60-40 in favour of the Eastern Counties stock cider. So it's essentially as it comes, blended 60-40 with the Dabinet cider. Simon's probably going to be absolutely shouting at his TV or monitor right now because I've got that completely wrong, but that's up to him. But this is entirely my favourite cider. Always has been.
Yeah.
We've had this in Norwich. We've had it in Cambridge.
Definitely.
On the cider bars. I could drink this all day, to be honest. So that's why.
Are you going to try the food?
I don't know. I quite like this. I'm going to have a taste.
Just because there's no butter in it doesn't mean it's not good.
Well, I love a buttery potato, and that's why I went for potatoes first. But the seasoning on the potato really sort of brings that, sort of umami element. The pepper, the salt, it does kind of make a little bit of a replacement for the butter. And then you've got the added umami from the mushrooms around the edge of the Wellington. Really fantastic.
If you wanted to soup it up a bit more, you could add some truffle oil.
Truffle oil? Now you're talking. Our coconut gas.
But I just went for simple.
Yeah, that cider works with it perfectly in my opinion. I'm going to go cider pig with that all day.